Good morning and welcome to Day 3 Match Reviews. Completed matches yesterday. Japan, Cote d'Ivoire, which I forgot, did not see, but given at the time it went on here, I wasn't going to watch it anyway. Italy versus England, Group D match in Costa Rica, Uruguay, and then the first match of the day was Greece versus Colombia, So get right to it, make this quick. Let's see. I've solved Greece's problem. I believe they have been cursed with having a terrible World Cup and giving up very early goals. They did not disappoint. Their fans, they did, but the world, by keeping up with giving up a goal within the first 5 minutes, and then they had to play catch-up. Colombia, again, they have always been a solid team, but have not been in the World Cup for 16 years. Their star Falcao, depending on how you pronounce it, not available, but they came out and got a big 3-0 victory. But to the extent that it was 1-0 in halftime, and Greece did put on, according to the announcers, a nice show to try and get back in the game, and then gave up a second goal midway and then the late goal. It wasn't, as in their theory, as big a loss or as that much of a blowout as a 3-0 score would show. I would definitely disagree. I felt that they gave a very bad performance. Somewhere along the lines, they have to teach 3 things. The spectacular will usually goof you up, number 1. Number 2, if the other goalie is a suspect, shoot. Don't go for perfect. Put something on. If he gives up a rebound, crash the net. And third is goal differential does matter in the World Cup and usually the big tournaments. So you can't cash it in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? Greece, unfortunately, I would say, broke all those rules. They came out, they did create opportunities, but going for the perfect. I think they only had one shot that actually was on net. Early on they put one on when it was 0-0, but an actual scoring opportunity where the goalie had to make a save, one. Okay? He had suspect hands. You have to make him stop the ball. Even if you don't score, there's a good chance your teammate can. Number 2, and this was the killer in the second half, where the man with a wide open net on his header hits the crossbar. I realize doing a flying forward header, throwing your body at it, looks cool, and aiming high to try and burn it through the twine looks cool. What looks cooler is putting it in the net. Somewhere along the lines, people have to do basic headers. Square your shoulders. Head the ball down. Up, you can miss, and more often than not, you do. And 3, you don't have to blow it out the backside. Just have to put it between the posts and over the line. He had 2 wide open in net to miss. That was a big miss. You could see the whole Greek team's shoulders sag. And given the group they're in, I believe they're in with Cote d'Ivoire and Japan, this is actually one where Greece could advance. But after a 3-0 loss, big uphill fight. Colombia, big win for them after 16 years. I'm not that impressed with them on several fronts. They can score, they're quick, but I think against a little more physical teams, a little more athletic teams, they'll come in second. Against Japan and Cote d'Ivoire, those will be very tough matches. So I'm not looking for them to advance. I'm looking for basically Japan and Cote d'Ivoire to advance. That game I did not see. Cote d'Ivoire won. This is where I'm talking about the breakout of the African teams. For Cote d'Ivoire, who have been in several World Cups in a row, have some very big players. Didier Drogba, obviously the more famous one, but he's getting up there. But they're a big, solid team. They've never advanced in the World Cup in what I would say the recent history and the history that I have been a part of with the World Cup. This may be their year. And if once you get into the knockout round, anything can happen. They played solid. Japan, they've had more talented teams. However, Japan will always play you to the bone. They go after you, they will play. They drew the first blood, and Cote d'Ivoire came back. So I'm very impressed with those two teams to come out of this group. But as I said, I did not see the game. I only saw the highlights of the goals. Okay, next game. Costa Rica, Uruguay. Uruguay was crowned to win the group, and guess what? Costa Rica did not read that article. It was an entertaining game to me. First of all, in the first half, it was one where I said, Costa Rica tends to play a little physical and take a few shots, and then they take a few boneheaded shots. They did not disappoint me, as the penalty kick they gave up was just a horrible foul, especially when you've seen the calls in the earlier games. Blatant grabbing and tackling will get called in this World Cup. In other leagues, you basically have to kill the person to get the foul, or as we used to say in the old neighborhood of mine, no gushing blood, no foul. That's not going to happen in this World Cup, to do it that way. They drew a very stupid penalty. Cavani, as I said, disappears, or just leave him wide open. He won't hit it. Nice penalty kick. I'll give him that. Costa Rica also defensively on 3 set plays. One drew the penalty. The other 2 were very close to being goals. One was a called back goal. The gentleman was offsides. The other, Cavani just wide open on the right, muffed the shot. Okay? They, however, where you give them credit is they tightened up defense. What's his name? Junior Campbell on the front line. He's got a big foot. Big left foot, smart player, good. Costa Rica is going to be a handful. They play that 5 defenders and 4 midfielders to stack back. I think that will give Italy and it will give England fits. And with the early 3-1 win, a draw for Costa Rica, even though you don't want to play for one, does help. And Italy might be a little better at breaking them down. England, you almost have to use, Rooney with brute force to get in there. I think Costa Rica could be a definite surprise win. Uruguay, they've got to pick it up. First of all, what I found interesting that I didn't understand with Costa Rica is they ran 3 set plays, all to the far post. All 3 were open. All 3 should have been goals, and it took finally the one with the sellout where he basically, I'll hand it to him. He said, if I have to take a foot in the face, I'm going to, but I'm putting this ball home. Brilliant play. But that far post on Uruguay was always open. After they got the goal, they stopped going there. They kept going short post, far post. Or middle post. I know a lot of people say, well, you change it up. No, I usually go by, force them to stop you first before you change. However, Costa Rica still came through. Uruguay, their midfielder, lost his cool, red card. He's out for the next game. That will be a big problem. I wasn't up on the news coming up to Saudi the last 2 weeks. Didn't catch up, but Luis Suarez, the Liverpoolian English player, wasn't available. That hurt. Forlan, a great player, still has the big left foot. He just looked a step or 2 slow on that front line. And Cavani needs a partner. He needs Suarez out there to free up and to put the ball in the net. Midfield, they now have a big hole to fill. Defensive line, Lugano and the gentleman Godin, I believe, from Athletic Madrid, they're thugs in the middle. You don't call them, they'll dominate the middle. But their wing defenders, where were they? Every goal seemed to burn that gap. Far post crosses, wide open. I always say you build toughness in the middle, but you have to have somebody at home on the wings. So Uruguay, I think they're playing England next for them. Obviously, they know it's win or go home early. England has the same issue after their loss to Italy. 1 a.m. start. I only saw part of the game, so I'm curious. Everybody's comment about my man Verratti. As I said, with PSG, I'm not a fan. Put pressure on him, he chokes. But he's got a guy by the name of Pirlo out there partnering with him, one of the best, if not the best midfielder, center midfielder in the game. Italy again, I was wrong. Buffon's not the starter finally. They have talent. Baratelli, if he can keep his head about him, premier scorer. Del Rossi, even though he's a hack, and by proxy, I don't like him. Very talented, also an enforcer. And they've got that big back line who play very well together. And they play a beautiful game when they want to. Obviously, a big win on England. They will go to Costa Rica. That will be a chess match. Looking forward to that one. So those are the 4 games. Today, I know Switzerland, Ecuador is the first one for the day. Ecuador, I saw them play Argentina in the friendly here in New York. Very quick. Antonio Valencia from Manchester United obviously has speed to burn, but he's not the only one. Very quick defending wings. They like to come up and overlap. They have a couple guys in the middle who have skill. Again, weak defense and a goalie with butterfingers. Switzerland, I'm not that familiar with. They play what I would call a very straight, disciplined game. They counter very well. They play good, smart defense. They have forwards that when they get the opportunity will make the play. These guys do not go for the spectacular. They are a smart, disciplined team. If you get an early goal on them, then they have to open it up, and they don't do that well. If they get you into their game, that's where they're dangerous. So that will be an interesting game. Other than that, and as I